Chapter 20. I don't think I can take much more of this, Fedir whimpered, laying his body onto the soft grass. I'm sorry, Fedir. I promise to get better at using this spell. Did the queen mention anything about how long? Because I'm starting to get sick of it as well, Isamu added. Hotaru's gentle worry sparks into a fire as she snaps at her brother. You have no right to complain. You tried flying around the sky at blinding speeds to find one small town. If it wasn't for the desert, we would probably still be flying, so give me some credit. A rustle from the nearby forest emerges along with a familiar voice. You guys really need to keep your voices down. If I can hear it from so far away, then monsters can as well. Thank the goddess you're back, Aziza. Did you find the cave? Whilst Hotaru has been aiding Fedir and taking rude comments from her brother, Aziza went straight to work, looking for the cave Nordi lives in. Thankfully, the few people out in the morning streets of Asham knew of Nordi, as he enjoys a bit of nightlife once in a while. They stated he lives in a cave north of the town, somewhere along the mountain range. However, finding the mountain range was easy. Finding the cave is hard, but with Aziza's return, such a thought should be a distance bygone. It took some time, but I was successful in my search, though I didn't check inside to confirm if Nordi was there. Well, that's good enough for us. It's a start, at least, Isamu said. And worse, it's probably another dwarf who can get us even closer. I doubt there is a city of them, Hotaru countered. Never has she seen one, but dwarves were said to be an ancient race of people who were around during the time of the goddess. Pimiko or her father never brought up seeing anything besides humans, making her skeptical about them. It wasn't until recently Fedir told them of a village of fairies they found, and though she wanted to see for herself, she respected Fedir's wishes after hearing the full story. And of course, the people of Asham have seen and vouched for Nordi as well. What about Fedir? Is he feeling any better? Aziza chimed. Isamu grabs him from the floor and carries him on his back. He will be fine, right? Fedir, with his eyes closed, barely manages to stick his thumb out as a response. Well, it isn't far, so stay close, she orders as she leads the charge into the forest depths. As they pass the thick trees with massive leaves, partially blocking the sun, they reach a deep slope. Its jagged and uneven ground makes it impossible to scale. It appears to climb above the cloudy sky. Aziza keeps her wits high as she remains on the flat forest, following up along its border, staring deeply at the flattened grass. Not before long, a small hole presents itself in the slope. Its size is more fitting for small animals like a raccoon. Isamu looks at the hole in confusion. You're certain that is the way? That looks more like an animal's nest. I thought the same as well. However, from what we know of Nordi, he is a dwarf, so a hole of this size isn't too far-fetched. Plus, I haven't found another opening that was facing east besides this one, and was deep in the base of the mountain. That makes sense, I guess, he pondered as he haphazardly stuck his arm in. But how do we get in? You two probably fit no problem. Maybe Nordi has another way in. Aziza and I will check it out then. You stay here with Fedir. Hotaru, with her small frame and haste, leads, squeezing through the small opening with Aziza closely following. Once they disappear, Isamu sighs. Looks like it's just us two again. Great, Fedir muttered, and Hotaru couldn't help but sigh at their banter. As they continue to inch through the darkness, it gets harder to crawl as the space around them tightens. Soon they crawl at a snail's pace with only their struggling grunts filling the air. The darkness blankets them and the anxiety in Hotaru's mind spikes at the claustrophobic situation. Her heart is beating in her head. Her warm breath cools the sides of her mouth. The air thins and it gets harder to breathe. She swears a distorted sound is echoing forward. Suddenly an unclear sound resounds from further in, as if it was responding. Slowly it grows clear, becoming human-like. It's a cheery voice that is singing a jolly tune. The lyrics are hard to tell as the deep voice sings with such loud vigor and passion. Despite being confused, they continue until Hotaru frees the top half of her body with a great push and slamming her head into the end of the tunnel. The singing stops, and the merry expression deepens, with heavy footsteps closing in. "Who goes there? I carry an array of weapons, and I'm not afraid to use them." A door swings open from the left side, smacking Hotaru on the head. Her mind booms like thunder, using her limited space to soothe it with a hand rub. From the ajar steel door, an orange light reveals a burly shadow. "What the? A pair of legs?" "We don't mean to disturb you," Hotaru grunted as she squirmed. "We were just sent by the king of Ortega to ask you about black pepper." "Portegas Rex sent you? That fat no-good-for-nothing oaf? Now I highly doubt that." "I don't know the relationship you have with him, but we have a missive that he wants you to read." Hotaru reaches into her chest pocket and throws out the letter. Hotaru watches as a gloved, meaty hand reaches down to the letter. The hand returns behind the door, and with a suspicious snort, the letter rips. The heavy voice chuckles. Despite the obnoxious pain, she doesn't sense any danger from this person. "Well, just as I assumed. This is the butler's handwriting, but since you came all this way, I will hear you out." He slams the door, rupturing Hotaru's poor eardrums. "And we're only halfway through the day," she whined, her scrambled head feeling like a shaken snow globe. "The door is unlocked," the man called. Hotaru holds her head with one hand as she gets out, while using the other to help Aziza. Carefully, they crack open the heavy door and slide in between its slit. A gentle light from the pretty fireplace fills the warm room, and a scent of herbal tea is not far. Though the cozy room is open, there are two sections. One is like a kitchen, with a small dining table with a stove, where a boiling tea kettle sits. Last is a bedroom with a child-sized bed with a bookshelf full of dusty books, as well as dozens of tools and weapons lying along the fancy carpet. The tea kettle rings, and as they look over, a short-statured man as tall as the stove, wearing miner's clothes with a long brown beard, removes it from the heat. Other than the pickaxe on his belt, on his back is a two-handed sword that is nearly as large as him. He pours the steaming tea into 3 cups on a tray and brings it over to the dining table. "It's been a while since I had guests over, so please excuse me for the mess." They sit down, accepting his kind offer, and drink the aromatic tea. "Is it fair to assume you are Nordi?" Aziza asks, while Hotaru indulges in her drink in hopes it will soothe her pain. "That's right. The one and only." "So then you can help us with the black pepper then?" "Straight to business then, aren't we?" "Well, the answer to your question is partially. I don't have the stuff, but I know where you can get it. It wasn't the first time they asked me either." "From what you said, you seem to have a close bond with the kingdom. Yet you called the king a fat oaf?" "That's right, and I ain't taking it back. You can tell him I said that personally. I used to be their #1 supplier of the stuff, but of course that was when the queen led. She was kind and understanding, always treating people like close family. She could ask you to go to the depths of the underworld, and it would be hard to say no. After she passed, and with that king in her place, I isolated myself from them. But guessing why you're here, something is stopping them from retrieving it any other way. The monsters have been returning to the land as well as the sea, so we were told to find you. That would explain all the ruckus I hear at night, and the moaning from town. Anyway, back to the black pepper. To the east of here isn't much except farmland. However, what you are looking for is a town called Baharada. Most of the stores sell it in large quantities for shipment." "Baharada?" Hotaru shouted. "What's your problem, kid?" Nordi scolded. "You nearly gave me a heart attack." "You nearly gave me a ruptured skull." "That's where Robin Hood has escaped to," Hotaru said, ignoring the thoughts from releasing. "I remember Isamu mentioned that." "You think they are planning to do something to the town?" Aziza asked, gently setting her cup. "I don't know, but we can't wait around until then." Hotaru sets her cup down and looks to Nordi. "Thank you for the tea, but we have to hurry. Do you know a way to the other side?" He stands up with a smirk and a fist bump to his chest. "Of course I do. Just give me a moment." He leaves the table and steps over to the fireplace. He presses his boot onto a floor tile near the fire. In an instant, the flames extinguish, flips over, and reveals another tunnel. Thankfully, this one is much larger than the entrance. Just follow it all the way down to the end and you will be out in no time. Thank you for the help, Nordy, Hotaru said as she gazed into the pitch-black pathway. As she thought the man was kind. The tea was also refreshing, but the thought of Baharada being in danger made her uneasy. Their next encounter with Robin Hood is closer than she thought. She may have all her friends by her side, but will it be enough? Part of her wants to heed Pimiko's warning, but she can't stand idly by as a town of innocent people suffer. Slow down, Hotaru. We can't just leave Isamu and Fedir behind. She stops, lifting her head back up with a nervous grin. I was just checking our next destination. If your friends are where you came from, I can help there as well, Nordy added as he marched over to his front door. As he opens the door to stare at the tiny burrow, he rolls up his dirty sleeves and grins. He slams his fist into the wall above with a devastating punch. The cave quakes, and the dirt tumbles onto the floor like snow. A crack echoes within the cave and soon reveals itself before him. He strikes the weakened wall again, and it breaks apart as if an explosion went off. He wipes his hands against his shirt, and as the dust settles, a glimmer of light reaches them from the outside. Hotaru gawks at the open path for a brief moment before turning back to Nordy. Why even carry a pickaxe if you can do that? It's a good luck charm. When you have a rock slide covering your front door every so often, you naturally get better at demolition. What was that? A startled voice at the end shouted. Hotaru regains her focus, shouting back, Isamu, we need to hurry. Did you do this? I will explain everything soon. Just come on already.